Dear students, welcome to B.R. Ambedkar Open University. Today we are going to discuss on the theme from government to governance. It is for those who are in UG first semester, UG second semester. The course title is Dynamics of Public Administration, and under Dynamic of Public Administration, block 3, which is known as Public Governance. So, for this the introduction part would be discussed here. Introduction part. Why government to governance is studied. So, the shift from government to governance was influenced by World Bank reforms and the rise of new liberal ideology in public policy beginning in the 1970s decade in the West and spreading whole globally in 1980s to 1990s, including India as well in 1990s. Friends, this change was driven by fiscal crisis caused by welfare policy, because during welfare policy there was a need of finance. So, that is why policies and the high cost of maintaining large bureaucracy leading to reduced public spending and increased reliance on markets for service delivery. Privatization and globalization became key strategy of governance. Here why we are discussing about from government to governance, because the driven by fiscal crisis. So, now the role of the state was redefined under liberal policy, focusing more on facilitation than direct service provision, while bureaucracy was recognized rather than reduced. Financial capitalism gained importance and state led economy needs models weakened. Earlier, before this, government followed a big government model directly controlling industry like telecom, power and transport, which are seen as a commanding heights of the economy. Political ideology differ. Left parties support big government, while right wing groups promote minimal or small government, focus on core function like security, education and health with other services. So, that is why what I have discussed, why government to governance is in need of the hour, because the World Bank has suggested something new for this democratic setup. So, now why do we need for re-engineering government? Why there is a need to re-engineer the government? Government organization in both developed and developing country face growing challenges such as rising public expectation, demand for transparency, accountability, efficient service delivery and improved performance. On the other hand, globalization, technological advancement, increasing complexity of work and stakeholder pressure have further intensified the need for reform. Friends, why do we need government to governance? Because government process re-engineering, the term GPR aims to improve efficiency by simplifying procedure, reducing cost, shortening service delivery time, enhancing citizen focus, increasing transparency and adopting best practices. At the same time, information and communication technology, very well the 21st century belongs to ICT. So, information and communication technology including tool like enterprise resources planning play a key role in enabling e-governance and improving operational efficiency in public services. Inspired by private sector business process management, government are adopting customer oriented approaches to improve productivity, satisfaction and effectiveness in public administration. According to Linden, one of the scholar in 1994 said that GPR combined with ICT is a major reform strategy for achieving good governance by transforming traditional administrative structure into modern efficient system. Government process re-engineering differs from private sector re-engineering, but draw from its practice to reform public administration. Research has helped adopt this idea to public sector, enabling transformation from a hierarchical bureaucratic model to more citizen centered service oriented system. Friends, GPR involves reviewing, redefining and redesigning government procedure and interactions with stakeholders such as citizens, employees, business, NGO, other government bodies. an international organization to improve efficiency and relevance in changing time. Its main objective is to enhance service delivery and operational efficiency by improving citizen factor, reducing process complexity, lowering cost and delivery time, increasing transparency, reducing administrative function and another issue. It also aims to eliminate inefficiency, duplication and delay while ensuring better workflow, control mechanism and accountability in governance process. The approach promotes less government and more governance by making administration citizen friendly and responsive. Now, why less government and more governance? Because less government and more governance emphasize creating a simple, minimal and efficient regulatory framework that is easy for private sector players to understand and follow. It focuses on reducing unnecessary government control over economic activities. The government's role is to create a space for private enterprises rather than occupy it, ensuring support for investment, business growth and economic development through facilitative policies. Complex and lengthy regulation are seen as harmful, leading to inefficiency, corruption and crony capitalism as experienced in the post-independence regulatory system in India. Economic reforms, particularly during LPG, liberalization, privatization and globalization were introduced to reduce excessive regulation and encourage private sector participation in economic activities. The concept promotes a shift from large interventionist government to small, efficient and performance oriented governance system. Friends, government is redefined as a facilitator rather than a direct service provider, ensuring better accountability, transparency and efficiency. The idea of minimum government, maximum governance reflects improved governance quality and a transition from government dominance to participatory governance model, which is need of the hour, particularly for developing country. Friends, so we have discussed about from how governments to governance model has been adopted by all over the nation, because government is an institution, means which is responsible, which is entitled to run the government. But governance means the way the institution is running and the acceptance by the common man is governance. Governance gives a kind of positive aspect, a kind of confidence. Governance means acceptance is always necessary, because government may be autocrat, may be dictator, but governance is always in the hand of people's acceptance. If people are accepting, it means it is governance. We can say, of course, in our democratic setup we have government, but we can say that we do not have governance. Governance means it should be inclusive, it should be participatory and it should be citizens friendly. Governance is a kind of a kind of trust between the government as a body and the citizen as the client, a kind of trust. So, governance is a positive sense. Why this concept has emerged? Because the World Bank in 1990s decade published a report and says that particularly the developing country and African country, Saharan country, which are receiving a lot of funds from World Bank, but they are not doing well in terms of development and project work. That is why the World Bank says that government is not necessary, governance should be there. So, that is why every country in the world is talking about government, from government to governance. If we achieve governance, it means the welfare model is there. If we achieve governance, customer and citizen satisfactory is there. If we achieve governance, means people are accepting the way the government is running. So, there must be welfare model, there must be consensus oriented governance. So, governance is more relevant than government. Government is, of course, is a basic thing, government should be there, but governance is required. Governance means the way the government is running and people must accept, and all institutions should be independent. There should not be political intervention. All independent institutions like judiciary, election commission, CAG and every like that, they must act independently, no intervention from the government side. Then we can say the governance. That is why we can say government is there, but government is not there. It means government is more, governance is more important. So, now we would like to conclude this video. The government is a institution which is responsible to run the entire nation on the basis of election, whatever but governance is the way how government is running, the way the people are accepting, it is a governance. So, of course, in democratic setup the concept has begun after the report published by World Bank. So, it is a very relevant for a day. Now, every country in the world is talking about from government to governance. Thank you very much.